Suppose the government offered a great big bribe, but nobody took it. Wait, what? Yeah, believe it or not, gentlemen. Hey, everybody, I'm Steve Green with Bill Whittle and Scott Ott. This is Right Angle, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. There was a Wall Street Journal report on Sunday that confirmed globally what various local reports had shown, that government efforts at bribing people into having babies aren't working. The Journal reported, imagine if having children came with more than $150,000 in cheap loans, a subsidized minivan, and a lifetime exemption from income taxes. And asked,
what?
Oh, yeah, these are all various schemes that have been tried in different countries. South Korea is doing the minivan thing and the cheap loans. I think it's Hungary that's doing the income tax thing. Governments all over the world are trying this because, birth rates are plummeting all over the world. Well, as it turns out, people aren't taking the bribes. Reversing the decline of birth rates has become a national priority in China, in Russia. Vladimir Putin declared 2014 the year of the family. I mean, not so much in Ukraine where he's blowing them up, but at least in Russia. In the U.S., Kamala Harris and Donald Trump have pledged to offer up new family policies. J.D. Vance says we should have a $5,000 tax credit. Harris came back and said it should be a $6,000 baby bonus. And folks, I got to tell you, $6,000 is 1 year of car insurance for my oldest son. Okay, it's not even a drop in the bucket. Scott, there are some folks who think that stricter abortion laws might be the answer, at least part of the answer to this. But I looked at the one Western country that we have to look at, and that might not be the case, or at least it might only help on the margins. Abortion had been completely illegal in Ireland from 1861 under a UK law. And then let me see if I can get this phrasing right. Oh, no, I didn't have it. But a constitutional amendment in 1983 equated the baby's life as being just as valuable as the mother's. And nevertheless, by 1992, Ireland's fertility rate had dropped below the replacement level. And since Ireland legalized abortion in the first 12 weeks in 2019, fertility rates they've declined a little, but not much. They're still under the replacement rate, and nothing seems to work. Scott, what would you do?
Those are all great and very appealing rewards, but as I think about it, I am pondering this question. If the government tried to give me those things in order to keep me from doing with my wife the precursor to having babies, it would be a sheer waste of taxpayer money. You'd essentially be subsidizing something that was going to happen anyway. And if they tried to give me those things to keep me from not doing the precursor, I wouldn't accept them. I think that the solution is love and intimacy and hot women. And so I think that it seems crazy to me. I mean, there was nothing more that I wanted to do with my wife than see more people like her. And, producing more people like my wife is like the best service that I've ever provided to the planet. I never get this. I never get people who think you're like 4 children. Wow, that's a lot of children. And I was like, really? My grandfather was one of 9. My grandmother was one of 7. What do you, when did that change? And so I think it changed along the way when people began believing that somehow the creature put here on earth to miraculously carry a human around inside of her and then bring it forth and release it into the wild and to raise that thing up, that's somehow demeaning work. Somehow this miraculous production of other human beings and the nurturing of them is demeaning, and we've got to find a way to get our women into office cubicles massaging spreadsheets so that we can really ennoble them.
Oh, yeah. And actually, Bill, Scott just reminded me of something. Like a lot of dystopian or at least really dysfunctional trends, this one might have started in California. Because this was when I was still living in San Francisco, so 30 plus years ago, probably 31, 32 years ago. It was the first place I ever heard any of my progressive friends dismiss people with families as breeders. And they said the word breeders with contempt. And, what was...
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, right? It is fun. What started as sort of a West Coast bit of snobbery, I guess, is really just kind of bled into the popular culture. Just having families isn't cool anymore. Dad's a big doofus, and aren't we really facing a cultural problem here and not one of government incentives?
First of all, when you listen to those incentives at the beginning of your show, most of them are just not even a drop in the bucket. Like you said, it's the cost of your car insurance for your son for a year. But I have to tell you had me at lifetime free of income tax. Yeah. If the U.S. government were to say anyone who has a child has a lifetime free of income tax, I would have a brief discussion with my wife. I'd say, honey, I've got some good news and some bad news. The bad news is we're getting divorced. The good news is it's going to be for about let's say 6 hours. We'll be divorced for about 6 hours, and then we can get married again. I got married very late in life. I was 57. The serious answer to this is extremely complex. I can give you the outlines of some of the major reasons why this fertility rate in the West is so low. One of the reasons that is becoming more and more prominent on the American scene is that now it's something like 80% of all divorces are initiated by women, and for college-educated women, it's 90%. The way that the courts structure alimony settlements and custody and so on, child custody, marriage is no longer as secure a proposition for men as it used to be. It is now a much riskier proposition for a man. If you're looking at the chances, that your wife is going to divorce you, and in many cases, many of these women regret divorcing their husbands. You can look at losing half of your assets and your children, because there's no penalty for divorce. There's no. In fact, not only is there no penalty, from a sheerly economic and sort of a family point of view, you get to go with half the money and the kids. That's a big part of what's weakening marriage and families in this country. But there's a much larger issue that's hovering over all of this. It's not a mechanical issue. The two major things that are driving the low birth rates, in my opinion, Steve, are, first of all, is an incredible abundance of luxury. We live lives with so much available free time. We can go see the world. We can do all these other things. Having a kid's kind of a drag on that. But much more importantly, with either the prosperity that we have or with the government safety net, we're no longer depending on children to take care of us the way that this is the first generation in human history that's ever had to face this issue. Yeah. Where we didn't have to have children to take care of us in our old age, and we're going to pay for that.
I was going to say, I think that's coming back.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. However, I would say that the single greatest issue driving down birth rates is, I hate to use Jimmy Carter's term, but there is a. I didn't say. I'm not going to say malaise. There is a lack of meaning. In Western cultures today. There's a lack of meaning, there's a lack of purpose. Religion is way down, there's a spiritual purpose is gone. Most people think that the future is not going to be better than the past now. That with the global warming thing, people believe that the earth is dying, it's on its last legs, and it's just, the future is no longer so bright that I got to wear shades. The future is now a dark and dismal place of less and less and more danger, more and more threat, less and less fun, among other things. We can thank the progressives for this. One of the reasons why the SpaceX catch of the Falcon Heavy booster,
Starship.
of the Starship booster, had such a profound effect on so many people was it showed that no, it is still possible to have a future where you can imagine things into existence. There is a future to live for. And it is a keynote of progressive policy that the future is going to be worse than the present. You're going to have to get by on less. You enjoy your steaks. You having a good time with your Saturday afternoon barbecue that you had when you were a kid. Well, you're going to be eating insects now because of global warming and all. You get the general drift of it, right? For progressives and for the left, which has taken over the institutions of the West, the future is a gloomy place where all of the excesses of the present must be curbed for the masses so that the aristocrats who run everything can continue to fly their private jets off to Davos and figure out what they're going to do with the rest of us. And people don't like that. And seeing something like the SpaceX booster catch gave so many people a glimpse of what the future used to be. And in other words, a place we're going to go new places, and we're going to go faster and higher, and we're going to make more money, and we're going to have more fun, and we're going to have more options, and we're going to have more things to do, and our kids are going to go to Mars, and their kids are going to go to Alpha Centauri, and the future becomes not only an attractive place but a livable place. So I think that's the main thing that's driving down birth rates throughout the world, especially in the West. But it's an extremely serious problem, because if you think about it, if the population continues to decline, we don't see children playing in the streets anymore. Schools become abandoned, graveyard, bombed out, derelict relics. Malls are closing everywhere. And Steve, I got to tell you, man, I don't think I've ever seen or felt anything more depressing than a dead mall. Going to a dead mall is a bad, bad feeling.
Especially if you're about our age or maybe 10 or 20
Where
years
it was a
younger.
social thing.
We grew up. Hey, it's Saturday. I'm going to the mall. They got the arcade. Maybe I'll meet a girl. I'll have a burger and a shake. It'll be awesome. That was a place to be.
Yep.
All right. I was a only child growing up, a child of divorce. Maybe I shouldn't have been all that into family, but I was very lucky in my early teens to discover Robert Heinlein, the science fiction author. Even though he and his wife Virginia weren't able to have kids, he was very, very pro having kids. And one of his most enduring characters, Lazarus Long, said, "If there is a purpose in life more important than two people cooperating in the making a baby, all the philosophers in history haven't been able to find it." And you know what? This is me speaking now. Government never will either. It's up to us. So get out there. Have some fun. Make some babies. All right, that's your right angle on that, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. If you want to become one, you can do that. Just go over to the website right now. Click that big old join button. We'd love to have you on board. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.